Galaxy International School. We are back in school, back in the physical premises, and we are all excited for being back. But of course, we're going through a lot, as you all understand, with the pandemic, but I'm glad that we're making some significant progress with our lessons in school. What's generally happening right now is that we have some physical students seated together with us in the classes, as we also have those that are at home sharing in the classes using the Zoom application. So as teachers, we've learned through the hybrid learning process to be able to interact with both the learners that are at home and those that we are having physically within the premises. A lot of things have changed, but the experience is exciting.
I must say it's exciting to get back to school after months of being away and having the distance learning. The students are excited. We are following the SOPs like sanitizing, social distancing, generally name it. We also have the hybrid learning, in that we have to interface with children who are at home.
As teachers, we're trying our level best to ensure that we facilitate those who are back physically with us and those who have opted to first stay back home, because we want every one of them to benefit. So we have a new strategy, a new program, hybrid learning. We are taking charge of those who are at home through the Zoom application, and they do get to listen in and also air out their answers. We have smart boards that are equipped with powerful speakers to enable everyone with a good listening experience. Those that are in class are able to see those that are at home and also listening to what they have to say. I should say, not only the learning process has changed, so many things have also changed in the school. As you can see, the distance for sitting has also changed. We ensure that there is at least a 2-meter distance between the students. We've ensured that there are dispensers for the sanitizer in all our hallways within the school premises. We have temperature guns at each of the entrances. That's quite new tech and new things to get used to by the students. But it's the new normal, and you know, this is the way to go for everyone in the 21st century, now that we have the pandemic on with us. But of course, as teachers, we're doing all our best to ensure that the learners do get high quality education that we are always ready to provide.
I believe they chose me out of the other 25 students in my class because I was able to balance between inside and outside school. I was able to balance between my academics and my social life. I was able to have a strong relationship with the people around me and also be very vibrant and active in my extracurricular activities, as well as focus on what brought me here. I joined the school 2 years ago, but in the time I've been here, I've managed to impact as many people as I can. I've made friendships, long-lasting friendships that will get me through this life. I have got so much advice and given as much as I could. And through all of that, I've managed to keep an outstanding academic history and background. And this ISA award is just an example of how you will receive acknowledgement for the challenges you face and the experiences you go through when you come into high school. And as you're leaving it, this is just one step to the greater unknown. Because high school it's just a part, it's like the beginning of how far you're going to go. Because after this, I'm going to university, obviously. I applied to very many universities around the world, and this school and this award have given me the confidence I need to go out there and show them that I have so much potential and I have so much to give, not only academically, but through the sports I've participated in, badminton, tennis, basketball, and through the friendships I've made, through the social interactions I've had, the interpersonal skills I have learned. And I believe all of that is very useful, because right now the world needs all-round people who will be able to survive and adapt in the different situations out there, because we need people who are open-minded, people who are forward-thinking, people who are strategizing. That's the kind of people we need. And this award shows that I showed the capability of being a person like that. The teachers here at Galaxy have been very important in my journey because they have offered so much guidance and advice that has really gotten me to this point where I am. And the friends I've made from here, long-lasting friends, as I've said, because it's all about, the people who you're with every single day, the people who make you. And I came to Galaxy and I found a community that was ready to embrace me, to welcome me, and help me get to this point in my life. I dedicate all of this to my family and friends who have been my backbone throughout all of this, who have watched me grow, who have given me the help I needed, who have made sure I was kept strong and, focused through this journey. And I am so happy I've gotten to this point. If it was not for them, I probably wouldn't have gotten this award. I wouldn't have been the lucky recipient of this award. And I'm so lucky to have such a big and positive family.
In order to prevent the spread of coronavirus,
always wash your hands with soap and antibacterial gel.
Avoid handshakes.
Sanitize your hands.
Always wear your mask.
Maintain social distance.
Always check your temperature. Listen and do it all. Together we can stay safe.
Together we can be safe.
Together we can stay safe.
Together we can stay safe.
Hello there, this is Herbert Baguma, the secondary coordinator at Galaxy International School. We are back in school, back in the physical premises, and we're all excited for being back. But of course, we're going through a lot, as you all understand, with the pandemic, but I'm glad that we're making some significant progress with our lessons in school. What's generally happening right now is that we have some physical students seated together with us in the classes, as we also have those that are at home sharing in the classes using the Zoom application. So as teachers, we've learned through the hybrid learning process to be able to interact with both the learners that are at home and those that we are having physically within the premises. A lot of things have changed, but the experience is exciting.
I must say it's exciting to get back to school after months of being away and having the distance learning. The students are excited. We are following the SOPs like sanitizing, social distancing, generally name it. We also have the hybrid learning, in that we have to interface with children who are at home.
As teachers, we're trying our level best to ensure that we facilitate those who are back physically with us and those who have opted to first stay back home, because we want every one of them to benefit. So we have a new strategy, a new program, hybrid learning. We are taking charge of those who are at home through the Zoom application, and they do get to listen in and also air out their answers. We have smart boards that are equipped with
Good morning, Mr. David Tugume. I would like to request you to continue admitting participants to this meeting. I've already made you a co-host, so let me know if that's okay.
I can hear you.
Yes, Mr. David Tugume, I was requesting that you continue admitting participants as a co-host so that I can proceed with the presentation. Is that fine?
Very okay, no problem.
Okay. Good morning and welcome all to this morning's presentation. This is basically a session about digital technologies in your classroom. Now, I'm very well aware that we've all used technologies in our classrooms, and this is something we're very conversant with, especially here at GISU. So it's a session that I'm going to lead, but then I'll be assisted by Mr. David Tugume, who is our IT technician, and also Mr. Edward Tebandeke, who is the head of our digital literacy committee. So they will be making a significant input as we proceed. Feel free to share with us in the chat in case there are any questions as we proceed with this session. So to start with, I would like us to start with something that is more of GISU. Let's ask ourselves a question. What inspires us in GISU to embrace digital technologies? We could start with that question. What inspires us to embrace digital technologies? Any ideas? Could we? Yes, Helena, I see your hand up. Please go ahead.
Isn't our part of our, I can't remember, was it ethos or our, is to be a digital citizen, to mold digital citizens?
Thank you so much, Helena. That's amazing. We actually like digital technologies so much that we've embedded this within our own guiding statements. Does anybody know any of our guiding statements that shows our love for technology and how much we're willing to move forward with it? Which guiding statement? Is it our mission? Is it our vision? Is it our core values? Anybody? Anybody?
It's our mission, isn't it? Our mission?
It's our mission. Okay. Well, you're right about that, Miss Gemma. It's our mission. And what exactly is our mission? Who can read for us our mission statement? Does anybody remember our mission statement as GISU? Mission statement, anyone willing to read that for us?
Miss Marjorie here.
Yes, Miss Marjorie, please go ahead.
To offer a contemporary approach to academic and holistic education supported by modern technology in an environment conducive to learning.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Marjorie. So our mission statement has those two very key parts that actually show our love and our need to embrace technology in the classroom. So a contemporary approach, that means we are moving with the modern times. Whatever comes into play, we adopt and we move along with that. And we would like as much as possible to ensure that it's not just our staff, but also the students who get to move together with these technologies and embrace them, use them in their day-to-day life. So that's our mission, and that's why we are having this session today, to further realize our dream of ensuring that we support our students, but while using modern technology. So in this session today, we're going to have a part to talk about identification and classification. So we'll identify some of the technologies we have in our classrooms within the premises and what we are commonly using with our students. We'll talk about connectivity briefly. We'll also talk about integration. Then we'll talk about the application of our technologies in the learning. We'll also have something about professional development, how you can get further support to enrich your digital technology knowledge and skills. So also, we'll talk about maintenance and support, where you can get that from. And also, we'll have a breakout session where we go to explore more about the digital technologies in our various levels, that is early years, primary, and secondary. So that's what we're going to talk about this morning. Anybody excited about having this session? Can I see thumbs up? Anybody ready and excited about this? Okay, great. So to start with, let's talk about the technologies that we have in our classroom, especially the hardware. So we're going to identify and classify the hardware. Of course, the most common being the usual PC. I'm sure many of you, especially those of you who are working from home, are probably using your laptop or your phone or tablet. And for those of us that are within the premises, you might be seated in front of a desktop. So this is the common gadget that we're using to deliver our lessons to the students. And then we might be using an iPad. And here within the school premises, we do also have the iPads, and they can be gotten from the iPad room. I wanted to inquire if Mr. Edward Tepandeke, could you give us briefly an insight on how many of these we have within the school premises and how exactly we can access them? Edward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Herbert. Good morning, members. The number, Mr. David knows the number because he happens to be in charge of the iPad room. However, if you want to book for these iPads, all you need to do, there is a schedule that we share with you. You check out any free slots and then find out whether the iPads are available during that slot, and then borrow them. Okay, you talk to me, or you talk to Mr. David or Mr. Selman. They will add you to the schedule, and then you'll be in position to access these iPads. But for the number available, Mr. David Tugume is here. He can tell us the number that you currently have. Thank you, Mr. Abbott.
Thank you, Edward. David, can we get a response to the number of iPads that we have within the premises?
Yeah, at the moment we have 20, but as told, anytime soon we're going to be having more. I think we shall be having around 40 anytime soon this academic year. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I look forward to that. So members, you've heard that. You can always request for these as long as there is a free slot. They'll be sharing with us a schedule. But some of our students are definitely using this while they are online. And of course, even some of you, our staff, are using these to deliver lessons to our learners during the online education. So it's important that we know and we are conversant with using this gadget. Works not very different from a phone, I would say, and it's very easy to use. And of course, we procured what we call a graphic writing pad from the last academic year's online sessions. We found it necessary to acquire these so that we are able to annotate onto the screen as we deliver lessons to our students. Very shortly, I'll be showing how this works. For those of you that have been with us in the last academic year, I'm sure you're very conversant with the use of this gadget. It's an easy to use, and we'll see how that goes. So you write like you're writing on paper, but you see your writing on the screen. So whatever you're annotating can be seen on the screen. And then your students can also see this as long as you're sharing the screen with them. Very shortly, we're going to see how you can enhance your annotation and create more engagement with your learners in the classroom. Well, we request or require that you get yourself headsets. Headsets enhance your listening and speaking experience. So it's very important that as a person who is going to be delivering lessons to students, well, you get yourself headsets to enhance that experience. And of course, you should also enhance your appearance in front of the students, because much as the students may not actually show their video, but the teacher should always keep their video on so that students see who's delivering the lesson. We procured these webcams as a school, and we've given them out especially to those teachers who have been with us in the past academic year. I'm actually using one right now, and you should notice that it helps to enhance the appearance for as long as you're facing the light. It's very important that when you're using this, face where the light is coming from. So the light is shining over it's splashing on your face, and the webcam is facing you. So that actually enhances your appearance before your learners. In most cases, we might be seated in rooms or places where we're faced away from the window that brings in the light. And instead, it's the webcam that's facing the window. So you find that you have a very dark image, and your students cannot see clearly who it is that is teaching them. Okay, but we do request that you always use the webcam and ensure that you always face light whenever you're doing so. For those of you that have joined us this academic year, we love you so much and thank you for choosing GISU, and we promise that we shall look into, and we are already looking into, ensuring that we have webcams at least for all of our staff. So no worries, it's being worked around.
May I chip in?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we have webcams available, so we shall be looking into it. Whoever doesn't have shall be availing. But of course, since the teachers who are no longer with us left some, so we shall be looking into that, those who left, and then we shall avail for those ones we don't have. And also maybe sometimes, of course, since we are now doing online or virtual, we are doing at home, so sometimes the connection may be bad. So only when the connection is bad, that's when you can turn your webcam on to allow the session to go on. As long as your network is very okay, you leave your video on. Only when the network is actually so bad, that's when you can turn it off to allow the lesson to go on. Because the video, of course, takes more data. So it helps to ensure the lesson goes on as long as they're hearing you for that moment when the network is not fine.
Thank you so much, Mr. David, for that technical input. It's good to know that there are already some webcams available and that our newly joined staff will be able to access these. So moving on, we have, as a school, within the premises, the Promethean Interactive Classroom Park. As you see, it has an interactive board with speakers. There is an interactive pen that goes with that, a remote and an overhead projector, all connected together into one park. This helps us to make very interactive lessons in our classrooms here at GISU. So we would like, as much as possible, every new member of the family to create time and access training in the use and how much they can benefit from making use of the Promethean interactive board. It's a very, very good resource, if you would ask me. I've been at GISU for some good years, and believe me, this is one of the things that makes my learning very interactive. And we would recommend, now that we are online, yes, we are still using the interactive Promethean Active Inspire software. All you have to do is download the software app to your PC. So because this is hyperlinked, I could take you to that particular website. I'm going to share the presentation slide with you so that at some point you can also access this website. So do you see that it's the Promethean support website? David, does it show Active Inspire? The website?
Yes, please, it shows.
Great. So you just go to download Active Inspire over here, and you will be able to download that Active Inspire software to your PC. And then when you've done that, you will see that you have the Active Inspire icon right here, as you can see on my desktop. So if you install this, then you'll have the Active Inspire icon on your desktop. That means you may not only access this just within GISU, but you can go ahead and use Active Inspire even while you're delivering those amazing lessons to your students at home. So we download the app. At the point of activation, it's going to ask for a product key to enable it to work on your desktop or on your laptop. So you can read any of the product keys. The product key is usually at the bottom right-hand corner of this board. There is a number that works as its product key. You can use any of those. All the teachers, for example, in the science department, have used the product key for the board in chemistry lab on their laptops, and they're able to use Promethean. You can copy the one in the physics lab. You copy the product key while you're at the point of activation. Should you have any problems activating Active Inspire on your PC, please don't hesitate to contact Mr. David Tugume or Mr. Edward Tebandeke. They will be ready to support you and they will enable you have that on the PC. So when you have this downloaded, then you continue and have the sessions normally like you have them in school. So interactivity, Promethean. I would like to just briefly show you or demonstrate how actually you can use this while you're delivering your lesson. For example, I'm making a presentation right now to you, and you can see on this slide, I've embedded a video. Well, I chose one that's about parts of a flower. Well, I think you might be guessing why, because definitely I teach science. So I have a video, and I'd like to demonstrate how you might use the Promethean Active Inspire software to deliver an interactive lesson to your students. So first, I have the writing part that is connecting to the computer just by a USB cable. And it goes with a pen. That goes with its pen. So probably if I could just show something here briefly. Well, you can see that's the writing pad. Okay, and
wow, pretty colors and lovely
wait,
smell.
just a second. I left my video on.
Petals, they give a flower its unique.
Okay, fine. So if I go back to, so you can see I have the pad, I have the pen, and I've connected the pad to the PC that I'm using by USB cable. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen with you again. So you can see how I'm doing this. So I'm going to start. I'm going to start the Active Inspire software. So I go to the icon and double click that. So you double click on the icon and it should be able to start the Active Inspire. Okay, that should take us a few seconds and it will get started. Okay. So, yeah, coming up with the Active Inspire. So I want to demonstrate how we're going to use this, just like we're using the board that we always have in our classrooms. It's taking quite a while. We can be patient with that. All right, so when it gets on, so I have my interactive board right there. And I can always choose to do anything with it. I can choose to pick the pen and write on the board. Well, I can also write well, not just scribbling around. So I'm using the pen for the graphic writing pad. I could change the colors. So the pen works as if it's a mouse and also works as a pen. So you move it around and write. You take that away. Now, if I want to bring my presentation into the board, then I'll go to Desktop Annotate. When you tap this icon at the bottom left corner that is saying Desktop Annotate, it will bring the last thing you were viewing on the screen before you opened the Active Inspire. So Desktop Annotate, and it brings the screen. Okay, if you click Desktop Annotate again, it goes back to the board. So if the last thing I was viewing, let's say, was the presentation slides, which is right here, then at the bottom, I choose on the taskbar, I choose Active Inspire, go to Desktop Annotate, and my PowerPoint presentation is now part of the Active Inspire board. You can see at the bottom, I still have all the controls for Active Inspire, and I can now annotate into the presentation. That doesn't stop me from playing the presentation. I can actually click the cursor icon at the bottom and then play this video, allow it to continue playing.
Shape and are often brightly colored to attract creatures and insects.
And I can pause it at any moment, and I can annotate into the video as I ask students to rather engage with me. So you could be telling them to name the parts of the flower, and you're pointing at which parts you want them to name. That's within a video. It happens even with the picture. You may want, maybe let's say you're looking at a paper, you're going over a paper, a past paper. For those of us that are teaching in these classes where students can follow through with you. So if I double click on any of the papers here that I have and I open, I'd like to open one of them so that you can see that I can annotate within. Okay, so there is a question paper, it's open, and you can zoom in on that, clear the previous annotations, and then of course, you can allow yourself to ask the students these questions and then write or ask them to annotate into the space. Because with Zoom annotation, the students can also annotate onto the paper from their side. So it's really, really amazing, like you can see, and you can go ahead and use it even while you're at home. So that's the Promethean Active Inspire. Download it onto your laptop and go ahead and engage the students. If you need any further support, that should come with the Digital Literacy Committee. They are very ready and willing to give you more support on how to use all the tools that are within this Promethean Active Inspire. So yeah, that's it with Active Inspire. Then you can also enhance your presentation, especially if you're in school, while moving. I've seen many a times you find a teacher is presenting a lesson, and mostly when it's hybrid, they are seated in front of the PC and cannot move because all the controls, the buttons and everything are on the keyboard. So they can't leave that place. And yet they have students in class to look over and some online in Zoom. If you have this pointer, you can continue interacting or managing your presentation as you can move the slide forward and back, okay? Or point at something, it flashes a laser onto the board. And you can do this while interacting with the students in the class and also engaging the ones that are at home, okay? So this is a gadget that you can buy by yourself. They're available within Kampala. If you actually went to the bookshops like Aristoc has these. And you could also get some of these in the IT shops around town. So it's one of the things that can enhance or help you become manage your presentations better while also managing the students within the class. So it's connected to your PC by Bluetooth. There would be a device, a USB device that you plug into your PC and continue using this device to manage your presentation. We have some of these in school, especially when we are making presentations in cinema hall. But I've seen something, Mr. Edward, maybe you can add to this. I've seen something with the remote control of the Promethean whiteboard. It's like it allows for this management of presentations. You can actually move the slides while you're holding the remote and not staying just near your PC in class. Edward, is this right?
Yeah, it's right, Mr. Herbert. For as long as you have the Promethean installed onto your computer, you'll be able to use that remote to work as a pointer to move through your slides. It's very right.
Good, thank you. So there you are. You can go ahead, manage your students in class, moving around while you're also managing those online. That's when we get to that anyway. But currently, we can work well with our mouse on the PC. So you can bring the internet to the class. We have routers that should be that are portable. Mr. David can add to this. Yes, please.
Before you leave that, we can also purchase a wireless mice. You can buy a mouse that is wireless so that you don't you don't be seated in one position. Move around like up to like 10 meters using a mouse. Yes.
Very amazing. I've seen one of my colleagues, Mr. Swipe Jenison and Ivan. They have these, and you always find them moving around the classroom while the presentation they're interacting with it. It doesn't stop the learning, and the teacher doesn't stay in one place. It creates a lot of control and management within the class. The students feel you more when you do that. Then, of course, I'm talking about the router. Mr. David, can you tell us about routers and how we can bring them to our classrooms?
So the other name for routers is simply access point. Now this enables you to access internet whenever you are. But for our classes, they are fitted in with Ethernet cables, meaning most times you may not see even a router in your class unless you are going to use iPads, because when you're going to use iPads, we normally provide you with that router, so it can enable the connections for the use in class. And then in the hallways, for each corridor or aisle, we fitted in with a router which anyone can connect to, as in they can use their phones to connect to, that's when they're not in class, or even sometimes when probably the cable is spoiled and then you need internet in the classroom, you can use them. Though, of course, at the beginning of academic year, we are doing some maintenance, so we are going to make sure by probably within 2 weeks, make sure that everything is up and running.
Yes. Thank you so much, David, for ensuring that we have full connectivity within the school as we continue engaging our learners and also exploring the resources for learning. So that's the router. What David is saying, we can also call an access point. Very portable. Miss Gertrude has used these in the past with her global perspectives classes. I'm sure she's conversant. So there are always people around that you can talk to and they'll help you know this. But also going to David Tugume or Edward Tebandeke directly could help you. So it's always a good thing to have their contacts. Maybe that will now make me put up the board, the Promethean board. David, could you share with us your contact on screen? Read it out. I can write it. Mr. David?
775.
0775 38 81 97. So that is Mr. David Tugume, the IT technician. You can always reach him also by email. If you just email David Tugume, he should be able to come up, and then you let him know He's a very accessible man and very resourceful in regard to school technologies. Thank you, David, for sharing your contact with us. Okay, we can get rid of that and proceed with the slide. All right, now connectivity. While online, you might be asking yourself a certain questions. How does your device connect to your network? Is it wireless? Is it cabled? Many of the devices that we're using, including the graphic writing tablet I have here, connects to my gadget by a USB cable. But of course, with modern technologies, you expect the world today on the market. There are other gadgets doing the same thing, but you don't see any wires. They are wireless, probably working by Bluetooth or other accessibilities. But so don't hesitate to let yourself know about what kind of modern technologies are out there to enhance your teaching. You might also be asking yourself, what kind of wireless connection is it? Is it Bluetooth? Is it Wi-Fi? Is it infrared? Well, you need to understand some of these things as you buy these gadgets to use them. What kind of cable connection can it make? Does your PC, for example, have an HDMI port, USB ports? You know, all these things you may have to know, especially while you're working at GISU. So we trust that as a teacher currently who is ready to start working on Monday, to start teaching online on Monday, we trust that you can manage your devices from home. And for those of you who can't, we believe that you should be able to get support because you now know where the support comes from. So ensure that you always try out every gadget before the actual learning starts. We're going to have a breakout session that's interactive in a way that we would want you to do some, assume you're teaching, you do like a pilot lesson, you know, try to see if you're actually ready and all your gadgets are working properly for that. So be ready to help challenge students also with basic troubleshooting. Many of our learners may have a higher understanding because of curiosity, a higher understanding of technologies, but believe me, sometimes they are challenged also. So as a teacher, you need to be ready to help students that are challenged with basic troubleshooting. If that's a problem, you should at least be able to send them the contacts of the IT technicians who will be ready to help. So also be ready in your classroom, even while online, be ready to be helped by a student. On many occasions, I might have had a glitch or two or something prevents me from handling a gadget in a certain way. But find that your student has a heads up, knows exactly what is the problem, and they are ready to help. So don't hesitate to get this help. It's always encouraging and it's a good thing. Know who to contact. We all know now who to contact and know how you can get them fast. So with David Tugume, he's accessible on all those platforms: email, WhatsApp, also call, SMS. He's always with the gadgets. As you know, he's a gadget man. With Edward Tebandeke, you'll know he's also teaching and managing a department. So there might be a lot that he's doing that puts him sometimes away from the gadgets for some minutes. So it might take him a few minutes, but he's also someone who frequently checks all his SMS and emails and WhatsApp. So while in school, that's when we report back. You should know that all our classrooms in GISU have already been connected, the gadgets have been connected by the IT technicians. Please do not disassemble them. Don't tamper with the connections. They've already been made in a way that enables learning to continue in an engaging way. Always ensure that the gadgets work rather than switching to your own device. So this is your own device. Instead of using your own laptop in the classroom, ensure that David Tugume knows that the classroom PC doesn't work or doesn't do this. If you bring your own device to class and you'd want to use it, please get authorization from David Tugume before you plug out that HDMI or power cable from the classroom gadgets to your own gadget. Make sure you have the right authorization. Otherwise, they are very delicate and anything could happen during the process of disassembling and inserting into your gadget. So we are trying to avoid that scenario. That's why we would want the right tech person to authorize it, or at least get you another cable that would help you with your own device within the school. So that's when we are back in school. So troubleshooting, connectivity, as a teacher, like we're saying, you should be ready to troubleshoot before you run to David, before you run to anyone. Can you try to discover what the problem might be? Try to enrich your understanding of how basic things like work, especially maybe a cable is loose, maybe the power button is not the one you know. So before you rush out to David, please try to troubleshoot around, unless it's really an emergency. I've found teachers at a time when it's really like 5 minutes to the start, and it's too much on them, so they would rather call in David immediately. He's always handy and ready to help, but try as much as possible to troubleshoot. So some common issues: how the devices connect. We've looked at this. So we are moving on to integration. Ensure that you can comfortably connect to each other and use the various hardware devices and softwares. In the classroom setting, you want to be sure that the students can also participate. You might be using, for example, this Promethean software. Are your students comfortable with annotating on Zoom? Have they explored that? So spare a few minutes and take them over or through annotation, so that they know when you ask a question, they can actually write the answer into the screen. Or besides using the chat, there is a way it creates more interaction and engagement when they do that. So these are some of the key questions that you might have to ask yourself. Technology is about exploring. The moment you hide behind you hide away from the technology, then you're not going to learn it and you're not going to explore it. So it's going to give you a hard time, and yet it's the way to go. We've got to learn to use these digital technologies through exploration. And I believe we are all ready and always excited about exploration, just like we explore with our phones. So with integration, as we move into the classroom, so find the ports on your PC. Which port is for HDMI, which port is for USB, which port is for the Ethernet cable. Do you have a graphic tablet? Do you have a webcam? Do you have headsets? Okay. Do you have access to an HDMI cable? Usually this is when you're in school. So discover all these software applications and even those that are applicable to your section. Within your department, the HOD or any other colleague should be able to support you. So just talking to people about what you're experiencing or what you want to discover may help you to actually be able to use the technologies better. Every department is advised to develop a tech team. We've done this in the science department. If it's something to do with presentations, you know who to go to. If it's something to do with the gadgets, you know who to talk to. So we try to create persons within our departments that can easily support us before we run to the technicians. Okay, that's especially to do with basic troubleshooting. Okay, so I would encourage all the heads of departments and section heads to try and create these micro teams at that level that can help with the technology. So what gadgets do you expect your students to be using while they are online? Of course, they'll be using a laptop for most of them. There will be some who are using their smartphones, and of course, some will be using their iPads. So be ready. First of all, if they need to be helped, this basic troubleshooting we're talking about, you should know what gadget, first of all, it is exactly that they are using. And as a teacher, you can also explore, find out how Zoom works on your phone, how it works when you're on the PC. You may not have access to the same things when you switch the gadget. So you should expect your students to be using these. Let your students know the useful applications. We had shared with them at some point last academic year, but there are some good ones. For example, we are using Firefly. Make sure that they have the application even on the phone. They can access it. Zoom, even on the phone and the tablet. So not just on the PC. PDF readers, scanners, like PDF scanner, CAM scanner, because at some point they are writing on a paper and they can scan and send that to you. So it's important that you share with them these applications and encourage them to have them not only on PC, but also on their smartphones, so that if one jams or if there's more than one student at home, they can always switch from one gadget to another. We always request specialist subject teachers like music, art, to identify also which softwares they would want their students to be using so that they can have these on their phones and you can have more interactive lessons with the students. Okay, so as I wind up, we've identified some amazing software applications after a comprehensive, I would say, survey, and we would like to share some of these with you. But I know so well that you have explored and have interacted with so many other amazing software applications. And I would like us to share in regard with these applications when we get to the breakout sessions. So one of these applications is quizzes. For example, if I already have an account with quizzes, so if I want to do a quiz as a starter activity or an end of teaching activity, I set up my quiz prior to the session and I have that ready, and I'll tell the students about which gadgets they want to use. So this is my quizzes account, and if I go to my library, you'll see that in the library, I already have some quiz items that I've used in the past. There's actually not that many, it's just 4 of them for now. But the beauty is, now I will know that the next time I'm going to teach about lattice structures, probably in the next academic year, I could use the same quiz. So I have it stored in a library. If you keep building this over the year, you'll find that you become more resourceful, or you have more resources at the end of the academic year, which you can always borrow. But with quizzes, you can also explore what others have made, and you can use these within your classroom. Okay, if there are any other quiz items developed by other teachers or other experts, then you can explore. There's always a lot. So try using some of these applications. Students love them at whatever level. You know, it can be boring to have those questions on a paper or in the way they are laid out in a past paper. Turn them into quizzes and the students will get excited. So please, as much as you can also use Kahoot. Kahoot is another very good one. I have an account there, so you can go ahead. I know there are many of you that already have these accounts, okay? And I'm just mentioning some of the things. So we've identified so many. Finally, with professional development, we would encourage you to go ahead and get professional development with digital technologies. Cambridge is offering a course, a diploma course in teaching with digital technologies. They are also offering these online workshops, but we also have some within school. So go ahead and do in-house CPD for more professional development with digital technologies. Maintenance and support, we've already said, your HOD or section coordinator could be your first point. If it's more technical, you have the technicians. Don't forget, we have a maintenance log in our department folders where you can log your requests for maintenance. So that maintenance log is for all 3 sections of the school. So at the bottom, there are sub-sheets. There is a sheet for secondary, there's a sheet for primary, and another for early years. So if you select, for example, the secondary one, it's made in such a way that when you go to any free unfilled part, I'd like to move to one unfilled. Let's see, it's the connection. Okay, so yes. Here we are. So it's a drag and drop. If you drop, usually we've entered the names and you just select your name. We've selected, there are 2 kinds of maintenance that we're accessing currently. Either it's general or ICT. So it's a drag and drop. You select which maintenance you want. And also the room is a drag and drop. We've entered all the rooms that we have within the school premises that we'll be using, for example, in secondary. So you select which room you want the maintenance to be done. Then in this section, issues to resolve, you can type a little more detail about what exactly it is you want to be done, and double click to access the calendar in the date section. So when you double click there, you should be able to access the calendar and you can enter the date or select the date. And then the other part will be filled by the technician. So you can always follow the status, because the technician will show you that they've either resolved it, received, pending, ongoing, rejected, resolved. Of course, you can always cross-check here. If they don't respond to your request within 24 hours, then you need to reach out to them through a call or see them physically. If it's an emergency and it can't wait for 24 hours, don't hesitate to contact them immediately. And that's why we've shared their contacts up here. You know, if it's general maintenance, Mr. Wanyama is in charge and his contacts are shared. If it's IT, Mr. David Tugume and his contacts are shared. So basically, that is it with maintenance. So you should know what to do. So as we go now into the breakout rooms. I really said a lot. And before I wind up with this slide, I would like to know if we have any pending questions in regard to what I've shared so far. Let me listen to those questions and see how we can move forward. Hello, any questions? Mr. David, is it that I'm audible, just that there are no questions, or they are in the chat?
Oh, we can hear you, Mr.
Okay.
Mr. Vaguma, we can hear you. I think the people that I'm with, we don't have questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then that's fine.
Oh, probably they could share with us some of the tools that they have used that or that may be of help to others.
Mm-hmm. However, I was trying to...
Herbert,
yes, please.
Mr. Herbert, what's the difference between an iPad and a tablet?
David, could you help us with that?
May you come again, ask?
What's the difference between an iPad and a tablet?
And in that case, it's simply the same gadget, but probably you are talking about the graphics tablet and then an iPad or a normal tablet. Is that the question?
Yeah,
Yes.
I know sometimes they call an iPad a tablet, you know.
So the graphics tablet is what you use like a whiteboard or the boards that we have in class, the Promethean and then the e-boards. That is how a graphics tablet works. But of only that a graphics tablet in this case is portable. You can use it anywhere, you can use it at home. Though a board, the smart board in class, you cannot move with it. Then the tablets or the iPads. iPads are made by Apple.
Mm.
And then tablets, the name tablets, most times came from these other guys, the Samsung, and then, but most of them are still tablets. I think it's an English name to mean those handheld gadgets. But
so I think it's like saying iPhone and smartphone. Is it something like that?
Not necessarily, because because an iPhone is just a brand, and then a smartphone is probably an English name to mean a phone that can do more than just calling. It can go, it can surf, it can take pictures, it can do more things.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine. I hope that throws some light onto the question.
Okay, can I supplement?
Yes, Mr. Kanakulia.
Okay, formerly a tablet was a gadget you could join onto your PC. So a tablet never had a screen formerly. With the improvement of the technologies and the competition, tablets started getting screens.
Okay.
So an iPad is almost a portable computer with a screen, so it can have the element of a tablet. But formerly, a tablet was just something you could connect onto your CPU, and then you had a pen, so you could turn a computer into something like the traditional book. Okay, so that is that is it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanakulia.
Yeah, actually, to be specific, there are two terms that I think at times we use, but wrongly. A tablet is a small computer. A graphics tablet is the device that you've been talking about. The correct term to use here is graphics tablet. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for adding on to that.
Thank you.
Dear colleagues, can we have one or two more question items and we wind this up and move into the breakout rooms. Okay, if there isn't any, then I'm going to say ensure that you have a registered Zoom account, especially for those of you that might be new to GISU. Just before the end of today, make sure you have a registered Zoom account and that the settings in your Zoom account are right for effective control of your class. Be ready to use Firefly. So make sure you have a Firefly account and that your Firefly page has the outlook that we agreed in the workshop. Make sure you have the right, yes, please.
One more thing. As teachers do give tasks, it's better to make sure that we give them considering the kind of gadgets that our students are using. I heard you talking about it, but I just wanted to re-emphasize it. We had teachers who could download like worksheets in form of PNGs and GIFs and JPEGs and send them to parents. It becomes a little challenging for parents to write into such kind of graphics. So make sure that you put the tasks into a format that students can easily work with. Thank you.
Okay, and which one would be the most appropriate, Mr. Edward?
I would prefer that we use maybe that are Google products if possible. Put it in a Google Doc, a Word doc, or a spreadsheet, PowerPoint. I think that would be better rather than sending out images to parents. They become a little hard for them to annotate on.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So dear colleagues, as we go into the breakout rooms, I'm only going to set 6 of these, and then we should be able to, in secondary, they should be in departments, and then primary, Ms. Gemma, are you comfortable with having one breakout room where you're exploring the applications that are resourceful in your section?
Can I suggest something different with primary? Just looking at time and things. I prefer that primary teachers who are in school, we've got a lot of new teachers. I prefer that they make sure they've got their Zoom account set correctly and that they know how to run a Zoom meeting. So I'd like them to do the second part, which says experiment on getting your gadgets ready by setting up a demo class session with each other. So rather than us discussing more, I'd prefer that they leave the meeting and try and do a demo class, like set a meeting, get a friend to join their Zoom meeting, because we have quite a few who haven't used it before. That would be probably a very good use of our time, if that's okay.
Okay, that's okay. More helpful. And just to let you know, I'm going to share the slide that has some of the interactive software applications as identified by some of our technicians and the vice principal. So you can go ahead during the course of the learning weeks and explore each of these and see which one works best for you. So I'm going to share the slide immediately after this, and we can get into these breakout rooms. So Ms. Gemma, do I have to create a breakout room for primary or not?
No. All the primary that are listening, they can just pair up with their buddy and start, the class teacher starts a Zoom meeting and gets a buddy to join. Yeah.
Great. Ms. Bonita, what would you say for Alias? Do we have Ms. Bonita with us? Okay, maybe I could reach out to Ms. Bonita later on. But for those of you that are in the secondary section, we're going to break out according to our departments. So I'm creating 5 breakout rooms, and I'll let you choose depending on the department you belong to. So just in a second, breakout rooms should be available. So primary, you can, thank you for listening. You can move on to your next session with Gemma. alias, I'm sure you can get in touch with Miss Bonita. Okay, there we go. The breakout rooms have been created. Edward, are you able to access the breakout rooms?
And also listening to what they have to say. I should say, not only the learning process has changed, so many things have also changed in the school. As you can see, the distance for sitting has also changed. We ensure that there is at least a 2-meter distance between the students. We've ensured that there are dispensers for the sanitizer in all our hallways within the school premises. We have temperature guns at each of the entrances. That's quite new tech and new things to get used to by the students. But it's the new normal, and you know, this is the way to go for everyone in the 21st century, now that we have the pandemic on with us. But of course, as teachers, we're doing all our best to ensure that the learners do get high quality education that we are always ready to provide.
I believe they chose me out of the other 25 students in my class because I was able to balance between inside and outside school. I was able to balance between my academics and my social life. I was able to have a strong relationship with the people around me and also be very vibrant and active in my extracurricular activities, as well as focus on what brought me here. I joined the school 2 years ago, but in the time I've been here, I've managed to impact as many people as I can. I've made friendships, long-lasting friendships that will get me through this life. I have got so much advice and given as much as I could. And through all of that, I've managed to keep an outstanding academic history and background. And this ISA award is just an example of how you will receive acknowledgement for the challenges you face and the experiences you go through when you come into high school. And as you're leaving it, this is just one step to the greater unknown, because high school